Good morning. Welcome to Sunday morning yoga. I'm Micki. So let's come into any kind of comfortable position. You can allow your eyes to close down. You might come into constructive rest pose, lying on your back with your knees tented together and your feet as wide as the mat. Either allow your arms to rest heavy at your sides, or you might place your palms on your belly. And just begin to sense the rise and fall of your breath. Start to arrive into the present moment. You might just notice any sounds that you hear. And this month, I've been theming our classes around the yama called aparigraha, which means non-possessiveness. So I just have a few quotes from this book by Deborah Adele called The Yamas and the Niyamas. Thinking about non-possessiveness, the word attachment can be traced to the root word that means to nail. Attachments are like nailing ourselves to our need for someone or something to continue to be the same and to always be there for us in the same way. When we nail ourselves to our need for others, to our feelings, our roles, our agendas, our pleasures, our identities, we become more like rats in a maze than free human beings. But non-attachment does not mean we don't care or that we somehow shut ourselves off from the pleasures and joy of life and with each other. In fact, non-attachment frees us up to be immersed in appreciation of life and one another. We are asked to let go of clinging to things, not the enjoyment of the things itself. Letting go of the ownership opens us up to full engagement for what is set before us in the present moment. Life becomes a banquet, and we are free to feast. Like the breath, we are invited to breathe in deeply, enjoy the fullness of the inhalation, and then to let go just as deeply and fully, enjoying the release of the exhale. So you just might invite yourself to bring an intention to mind. If you'd like, you can use the intention of aparigraha, non-possessiveness. Or maybe there's something else in your life that you'd like to cultivate, or even that you'd like to release. You can bring that intention to mind and then allow it to plant itself at your heart center. Take a nice deep inhale and then go ahead and exhale and let it go completely. We'll bring our arms out wide to the sides, forming a letter T shape. And then you can exhale and allow the knees to fall over to the left. Allowing the right knee to fall close. Inhale, bring the knees back up to center, and exhale, allow them to float over to the right, allowing the left knee to fall down towards the right foot. If you'd like to involve your head in this movement, as you windshield wiper the knees to the left, you might send the gaze over to the right. Just go ahead and follow the pace of your own breath, windshield wipering the knees from side to side. If you'd like to invite your arms in, the next time your knees come to center, reach your fingertips up towards the sky and then clasp the opposite elbows. Now, as the knees fall over to the right, you could reach the elbows over to the left. Inhale, come back to center, and exhale as the knees come to the left. The elbows reach over to the right. You can go ahead and take a few more rounds of breath, alternating from side to side. Let's take one more round on each side. Inhaling fully and exhaling completely. And when you're ready, we'll meet back up in center. And you can draw your knees into your chest. Maybe draw your nose up towards your knees. Rock a little bit side to side. When you're ready, you can roll over to your right side. And then press yourself up into a seat. From our seated position, go ahead and either close down your eyes or soften your gaze, and then allow your right ear to fall towards your right shoulder. You might gently begin to nod your head yes, and then gently shake your head no, allowing the breath to cascade down the left side of the neck. When you're ready, coming back to stillness, you can allow your chin to fall towards your chest, tracing a semicircle across the chest, and then allow your left ear to fall towards your left shoulder. Allow your right ear to melt away. You can either find stillness here, or maybe you gently shake the head no. And then maybe you gently nod the head yes. And on your next inhale, we'll bring the chin back to the chest. And then you can lift the gaze back up to center. With our next inhale, let's reach the arms up overhead, circle sweep the fingers up towards the sky. And then on the next exhale, you can plant the right palm next to your hip or reach it out beside you and reach the left arm up and over, sending your gaze up towards your fingertips. On the next exhale, go ahead and sweep the left arm down and around. And then inhale it back up and over. You can take 3 more breaths following this direction. Maybe you continue to trace the fingertips with your gaze. Once you feel complete on this side, we'll inhale to rise back up to center, reach the fingertips up tall, looking up, and then exhale, bring the left hand down to the left side, reaching the right fingertips up and over. You might gaze up at your lifted hand. And then with your next exhale, gently sweeping the right fingertips down and around. Let's take one more nice big circle in this direction. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale to come back to center. Gazing up, you can interlace your fingers, press the palms up towards the sky, And then with your next exhale, allow the hands to gently cascade down in front. Once your hands arrive in center, you're going to place them on your knees and then inhale to roll the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, allow the shoulder blades to cascade down the back. Go ahead and take a few more rounds at your own pace. Sending breath into the shoulders. When you're ready, you can reverse the direction of your shoulders, bringing them up from behind, and exhale, round them down in front. And then when you're ready, we'll come back to center and interlace your fingers. Start to draw a few figure eights with the wrists. Extending breath and gratitude into the wrists. And then when you're ready, you can reverse the direction. Maybe a few more times. Once you're ready, you can release, give them a little shake. And then we'll reach the right hand forward with the fingertips down. You can gently apply a little bit of pressure to the back of the palm. Finding a stretch in the forearm and the wrist. Take a nice deep breath. And then we'll switch sides, bringing the left fingertips down, applying gentle pressure to the back of the wrist as you find a stretch through the forearm. Take a nice deep breath here. And then when you're ready, we'll release the hands, give them a nice gentle shake. And then we'll find our way to tabletop. Hands and knees. In your tabletop position, you can plant your palms underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and drop the belly for cow pose. Exhale, round the spine into cat. You can go ahead and take a few rounds of cat and cow, following the pace of your own breath. You might enjoy some gentle other movements here, maybe beginning to trace a big circle with the belly button. Imagining you're tracing the inside of a hula hoop. You might find that you have a place that feels particularly good or juicy. You might want to stay there for a breath. Exploring and marveling at the design of your perfect spine, all the different directions it can take you. When you're ready, if you're drawing a circle, go ahead and reverse the direction of that circle. And then whenever you're ready, we'll meet in a neutral spine. Bring the knees wide and the big toes to touch. Sink the hips back and then walk the hands out in front for child's pose. You might allow the forehead to rest on the mat. If it doesn't quite make it there, you could always stack your palms to make a little pillow to rest your forehead. Take some nice deep breaths here, growing the back body, allowing the heart to melt forward towards the ground. Notice where you can relax your effort. Feel the strength of the earth rise to support you. And the weight of gravity holding you to the earth. Imagine any tension on the back and the shoulders melting down towards the ground. When you're ready, we'll take a nice side stretch here. If you'd like, you can walk your hands over to the right, reaching the left arm long. You might turn your gaze underneath your right shoulder. Send the breath cascading from the left fingertips all along the left side to the base of the left hip. When you're ready, we'll walk it to the other side, reaching the right arm long away from the right hip, maybe turning the gaze underneath the left armpit. Allowing the breath to cascade down the right side body. Take one more nice deep breath here. And then when you're ready, we'll come back to center. You can take another deep breath in child's pose, and then we'll meet up in tabletop. From here, you might leave your knees a little bit wide like child's pose. And on your next inhale, go ahead and reach your right arm up towards the sky, opening through the heart. On the next exhale, we'll swim this hand underneath the body, coming in to thread the needle, laying on top of the right shoulder, allowing the temple to rest. You can either support your weight with your left hand, or you might walk the left hand out like child's pose, or you could even spin the left hand around and allow the back of the palm to rest on the low back. Sending some nice deep breaths into any areas of sensation. Whenever you're ready, we'll bring the left hand back underneath the left shoulder. Pressing into the mat, you can inhale to sweep the right arm up, looking up, and then exhale, we'll switch sides, planting the right palm underneath the right shoulder. Inhale the left arm up towards the sky. And then on your next exhale, you can circle sweep the left hand underneath the body, coming onto the left shoulder, allowing the temple to rest, and finding whichever variation works for your right hand. Either continuing to support your weight, or maybe you walk the fingertips out in front like child's pose, or you could spin that top hand around and allow it to gently rest at the low back. Take some nice deep breaths here, softening into the earth, relaxing your effort. You might notice subtle variations from left to right. Just try to allow yourself compassion and curiosity. And then whenever you're ready, we'll float that right hand back down, plant it underneath the shoulder, and then inhale to press up, spinning the left hand up towards the sky, and then exhale to release the hand back down. Let's come into our table. Take a moment to pedal your heels one at a time towards the earth, sashaying the hips a little side to side. And then when you're ready, we can come forward to a plank. You can always lower your knees down for a little more support. And you might take a few rounds inhaling to come back to down dog and exhaling to come forward to a plank. Go ahead and take one more round. Inhale for downward facing dog. Exhale to plank. You might lower your knees down and lower onto your belly for Sphinx pose. We'll plant the elbows underneath the shoulders, plant the palms on your mat, and begin to reach the heart forward as you energetically drag the hands back. And keep a soft gaze. Maybe drawing the belly towards the spine. And when you're ready, go ahead and roll the shoulders up towards the ears and exhale, allow them to cascade down the back. On your next exhale, we'll go ahead and stack the palms and allow your forehead to rest on the back of your hands. A crocodile pose. Notice if you can soften all of your effort and give yourself a chance to delight in this time of rest. Noticing where you can soften. And we'll turn our gaze next to the right, bringing the hands behind you with the palms facing up. Allow your temple to rest on the mat. You might feel a nice gentle stretch through the neck. Maybe gentle pressure against the temple, releasing any of that stress, any holding. On the next inhale, we'll lift the heart, lifting the feet, lifting the arms to come into locust pose, using the strength of your back and your spine. Float yourself up to flying, balancing on the belly. With the next exhale, you can turn your gaze to the left and relax all effort, allowing your right temple to rest. And this time you might bend your knees, kicking your heels towards your sit bones. And then on the next inhale, you can lift everything up, reaching your heels up towards the sky. You might reach over to the right to grasp hold of your right ankle, maybe reach over to the left to grasp hold of your left ankle to come into bow pose. Kicking your heels into your, or kicking your feet into your hands to grow a little taller. Take a nice deep breath here. Keeping a soft gaze. And then whenever you're ready, you can exhale, turning the gaze back to the right, or stacking the palms if you like to rest your forehead on the back of your hands. Take a moment to check in with your breath. Soften your effort. And then when you're ready, we'll bring the palms underneath the shoulders. You can tuck the toes under and press up to table or plank. And we'll find another downward facing dog. When you're ready, you can walk your feet to your hands or your hands towards your feet and come into a forward fold. Maybe you grasp your hands around your opposite elbows. Just allow yourself to hang heavy, gently rocking from side to side. You might shake your head no, Releasing that which does not serve you. And nod your head yes. Inviting in new opportunities. And then when you're ready, we'll release the hands. And then you can bring the hands to the shins and inhale to lift the spine straight halfway. Exhale to forward fold. And then bend the knees and we'll inhale to rise to center, sweeping the hands up overhead, reaching the arms up towards the sky. And then exhale, draw the hands to the heart center. Inhale, we sweep the arms up and over, looking up. Exhale, draw the hands to the heart center. And let's do that one more time. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. And exhale, draw the hands to the heart center. From here, we'll come into a chair pose. So you can begin to bend at the knees and sink the hips a little bit back, drawing the belly towards the spine to engage the core. On your next exhale, you might float the hands behind you and maybe come up onto the balls of the toes to balance a drinking bird. Inhale, lower the heels, reach the arms up past the ears. And then inhale to rise, exhale to swan dive forward. Inhale here for halfway lift. And exhale to forward fold. You can walk the palms out in front. Walk the feet behind you. The downward facing dog. And then with your next inhale, you might center the right foot and kick the left foot behind you for three-legged dog. It might feel good to bend the knee and stack the hips. Allow the left foot to fall behind you. For scorpion dog. And then with your next exhale, we'll draw the knee gently under the body and you can plant the knee right behind the left palm. Slide the right leg back for pigeon pose. You might stay in an upright pigeon coming onto your fists. Maybe take a few rounds of breath here. Whenever you're ready, you might allow your heart to melt forward, folding forward, maybe stacking your fists to make a little pillow to rest your forehead. And if pigeon is feeling too intense for you today, you can always come onto your back, sliding onto your back and bring the left ankle over the right thigh for figure 4 if you prefer. Maybe wrapping the hands around your right thigh, drawing the shape into the body. Noticing your pigeon where you can relax your effort and soften. We'll take one more nice deep breath in pigeon. And then we'll come back up, and then on an exhale, you can roll onto your left hip, bringing the legs staggered into a pinwheel shape. With your next inhale, reach the arms up overhead, looking up, and then exhale, we'll twist to the left, bringing the right hand onto the left knee, planting the left palm behind you, and sending your gaze past your left shoulder. On your next exhale, allow the chin to trace the front of the chest, and you can send just your gaze over your right shoulder. With your next exhale, go ahead and release that. We'll come back into our downward facing dog, bringing the palms underneath the shoulders, stepping the feet back. Take a moment to check in with your breath and down dog. You might once more pedal the heels, sashaying the hips a little side to side. And then with your next inhale, this time we'll kick the right foot behind us. For a three-legged dog, you can bend the knee and allow the hips to stack, allowing the foot to hang heavy for scorpion dog. With your next exhale, gently drawing the right knee in towards the nose and then placing it right next to the right hand. You can stretch the left leg behind you. You might start out on your fists in an upward pigeon, stretching through the front of the left hip. Whenever you feel ready, you can begin to allow yourself to gently forward fold. Maybe stack your palms or your fists to make a little pillow to rest your forehead. You're welcome to stay in this pigeon pose, or if you prefer, you can always come onto your back and try the figure four shape instead. Sending some nice deep breaths to the outer right hip. Just noticing where you feel sensation in the body. Whenever you're ready, you can press yourself up and roll onto your right hip, bringing your left knee around to your right foot to sit in a pinwheel shape. We'll inhale to reach the arms up overhead, and then exhale, twist everything to the right. Bring your left hand onto your right knee, maybe plant your right palm behind you, and you can gaze past your right shoulder. With each inhale, allowing the spine to lengthen. And each exhale might twist you a little more deeply to the right. With your next exhale, allow just your chin to trace the front of your chest. And you can send just your gaze past your left shoulder. When you're ready, we'll release the twist, coming back to center. Let's bring the feet out in front. And then you can reach the arms out past the knees. You might even bring the hands behind the thighs and begin to find balance in boat pose. Maybe bringing the shins up parallel to the ground. Might even reach the arms out. Just finding strength in your core and lifting through the heart. You might take a few rounds of tapping one foot at a time down towards the ground. With your next exhale, you can plant the feet, and then we'll plant the palms behind us, underneath the shoulders, with the fingers pointing towards the hips. You can walk the heels in a little bit, and then with your next inhale, we'll lift the hips to come into altar pose. Maybe sending the gaze towards the navel, up towards the sky, or you might allow the gaze to fall behind you. With your next exhale, go ahead and lower the hips back down, walk the feet out in front, reach the arms forward, and then allow yourself to gently come down onto your back. You might take your time. And as you land on your back, you can begin to walk your heels in towards your sit bones. And we'll reach the hands down towards the hips. With your next inhale, go ahead and rainbow the arms up and over, reaching them up past the ears. On your next exhale, you can rainbow the hands back down towards the hips. Press the palms against the earth and then lift the hips into bridge. Take a few rounds of breath in your bridge. You might walk the arms underneath the body, interlacing the hands behind you, tucking your chin towards your chest. Whenever you're ready, you can gently lower your spine back down one vertebrae at a time. Of course, after releasing your hands if you're in the bind. And then once more, we'll inhale to rainbow the arms up overhead, reaching them up past the ears. And exhale to lower them back down. Now you can go ahead and bring the soles of the feet to touch. Allow the knees to open up wide to the sides, to come into a reclined butterfly shape. You might bring your hands onto your belly, resting them there. And allow yourself to come back to your intention for your practice. We'll be getting ready for our final resting pose, Shavasana. So you can feel free to take any resting shape that feels good to you. You might stretch your legs out long, allowing your feet to gently flop open, allowing your arms to rest at your sides. And if there are any last poses that are calling to you, you feel free to take a moment to find those shapes now. And once you're ready for your final resting pose, allow yourself to feel held by the earth. If you're outside on the grass, you might just notice the impression your body makes on the earth. Allow the forehead to soften, the shoulders to soften. Releasing the hinge of the jaw. Smoothing out any creases in the eyelids. Coming back to the idea of aparigraha, Deborah Adele's book tells us that the fewer attachments we carry with us, the more we are free to enjoy and engage and live every moment before us to the fullest. The more breath we let go of, the more room there is in our body for the fullness of the next inhalation. The more we generously share and give away, the more expansive and light we become. The journey of life is towards freedom. A bird cannot hold its perch and fly. Neither can we grasp anything and be free. Practicing constant generosity and unfailing trust will keep our greed in check and keep us open to life's unfolding. What wants to come to us is so great, and what we hold on to is often so small. Just like the trapeze artist, are we willing to be suspended in midair in total trust of the timing and of a future that is greater than the one we are holding on to. Go ahead and become aware of the breath, breathing you, the rise and fall of the belly. You can begin to invite some gentle movements into your fingers and into your toes, gently rotating the wrists and the ankles. With your next inhale, you might reach your arms past your ears to find a long body stretch from the heels to the fingertips. And then whenever you're ready, you can walk your heels in towards your feet, bending your knees, and roll over onto one side, coming into a fetal position. Allowing yourself to gently rest here. You might cradle your head against your biceps. And then whenever you're ready, you can gently press yourself up into a seat, inviting the hands to meet up at the heart center, gently allowing your head to bow towards the wisdom of your loving heart. It's such an honor and a privilege to guide you through your practice. Thank you so much for being here. Namaste.
Thanks.